I think I heard recently there's 27,000 crypto coins now. Well, most of them, I won't use the nasty word, but most of them are poop coins. They're no good whatsoever. There's only really about under 30 coins that are, I would consider good coins to get.
Hey guys, Josh Lake here with the Pebbleton Post, joined today by Mr. Kent, or Saintjerome of Crypto Experiences. And you can find him at Crypto Experiences by Saintjerome on YouTube and also on Patreon. Is that correct?
Yeah, patreon.com/Saintjerome.
Awesome. And so today we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency and the basics, because as we've talked about here on this channel before, one of the things that we are looking forward to doing is bringing some more of the basic information to a larger audience. And so we've been finding experts to talk to, enthusiasts to talk to, and share their opinions to get people excited about the technology and just the movement in general. And so that's why I'm so excited to have Mr. Saintjerome on today, because we met in on the Freedom Road show for Bix Weir, and it was the St. Louis spot.
Yep.
And we had Bitcoin Ben there and a bunch of the crypto family. And I remember specifically, Kent gave me a book by Bobby C. Lee that was The Promise of Bitcoin, and reading just even the first chapter and a half of that, it really got me inspired to become more of an enthusiast and more of an active member of the community. And so that's why I'm so excited to have him on today and just pick his brain about some of these basic questions around cryptocurrency. But before we get started, Kent, how are you doing today?
Doing very good. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Oh, most definitely, man. So just, to give a little bit of an introduction about who you are, could you just explain, who you are, what you do, how you're kind of related to the whole cryptocurrency world?
Well, I'm been a teacher, Spanish teacher for the main one. I've taught math also, but Spanish and French are my major and minor. So I've got a lot of experience teaching young people, high school age I relate to real well, college age. Grandparent now, my oldest one is 14 years old. So I've been through a lot of ages of people. So I kind of prefer the younger ones, if you want to know the truth. I've been interested in like coins for a long, long time. And that kind of launched me into alternative currency, especially around the Y2K time. I was a little worried about Y2K, and rightly so, I found out later, but they fixed the problem about November. So I was crying wolf, and there was a wolf, but then it made me look kind of silly. But at the same time, I started getting interested in things like Ithaca dollars. That's where you perform a service of some kind, or you sell a special product in Ithaca, New York, and you get paid in the hours, I think they called them. And then you took those hours and you could purchase actual things from different vendors or a service from somebody else. And then that led me into Liberty dollars let's see, Bernard von Nothaus came up with. He had a silver mint in Hawaii. He had beautiful, very beautiful coins that talked about the kings and queens of the islands. They're great. And then he decided to launch a competition for the Federal Reserve. So he had $100 million in circulation. Then the Fed, the U.S. Treasury came and said he was counterfeiting and shut him down, which it was very bogus. It was no counterfeiting whatsoever. The main thing of circulation was a 1 ounce silver, we'll call it medallion instead of coin, but it looked like a coin. And those are really neat. I really got into that. And then one night I had a Ron Paul dollar on sale on eBay for about $30, trying to make a little money, and it sold for $450. I went, what in the world is going on here? And then I found out that the agents came in and confiscated everything. So, and then soon after that, get started, saw something about Bitcoin, didn't know too much. I think I kind of jumped in with the alternative currency background about 2016. I really started to get serious about it and got on the Coinbase and figured out how to do those things. But even then, that was kind of early, because 2009, 2010s when things really took off. And so I was only 6 years later. getting in.
Yeah, man, that's very early to the scene. I wasn't in it until about 2019, and really more likely the last couple years. And so, sounds to me like you're definitely someone who's been a veteran in this space and seen a lot of, a lot of the ups and downs with this crazy
Hmm.
crypto world. And it also sounds like you've just been interested in alternative forms of currency for a long time, which is exciting because I think most people aren't even aware, most Americans aren't even aware that there were attempts to rival the Federal Reserve now
Right.
or do anything of that nature. So, I've heard of the Liberty Dollar. I don't think I've ever seen one with my own eyes, but it's great that you've been involved in the space for so long. So, it was 2016 when you started to use cryptocurrency, correct?
Yeah, I don't I that must have been the year that I first got just like, I didn't get a lot of things, but Litecoin was like I think it was $9 when I
Wow.
first got in, I believe. And I remember getting a little bit at $12. And I just got in and I was just barely dabbling, right? So trying to figure out this thing. And I believe when I got on, the only two coins on Coinbase at first were Bitcoin and Ethereum, I believe.
Hmm.
There's nothing else. And then
Yeah,
Litecoin came soon after that, and I got in with Litecoin. And then one cool thing that I wish I wouldn't have done what I did, but um, the Bitcoin Cash fork came, and I had Bitcoin sitting in Coinbase. And I said, "Oh, should I take it out?" I thought maybe I'd lose all my Bitcoin. I didn't know what was going to happen, so I took like half out. Well, later on they honored that and they gave you the fork. So if I just
really.
left it all in there, I'd been fine. I would not doubled my money, but I mean it was like free crypto.
Hmm.
Giving you the fork off of that. You didn't have to do anything, you just had to have it in Coinbase.
Wow, I didn't even know that. And I mean, I don't even know what Coinbase must have been like back then if there were only a handful of currencies that were running through it and,
Mhm.
holding the currency too. I don't even know what wallets existed back then.
Well, I was ignorant then, and so I kept it on Coinbase. I would never, never do that nowadays because, as you may hear people say, if you don't have, if it's not your keys, you're not your private keys, you don't have it. The same way with silver. If it's not in your possession, you have it like stored someplace, you really don't have it. It's in somebody else's control.
Right.
So I'm a big believer in getting precious metals or crypto in your own control, on your own wallets, in your own safes, or secret places wherever we keep those secret places.
Absolutely. That's definitely something after learning about, you know, having worked with Bix and the Road to Ruta for a few years, he drilled that into my mind. And I see 100% the value of holding your own assets because
Hmm.
you're in control of your own wealth. And at that point, you don't have to rely on a third party. You don't have to risk having it be lost because of some sort of mishap with an exchange or with a bank or
Right.
whoever's holding it. So, totally, that's one of the things I love about cryptocurrency is the ability to hold all of your own assets yourself, and that's something I'd like to touch on as we continue to go. But one of the things I want to ask you is, what to someone who's new to the space, to
Hmm.
someone who's never even heard of cryptocurrency, how would you explain what it is and why it's important?
Well, let's do the why it's important first.
Okay.
We're starting to lose faith with the U.S. dollar. A lot of people are totally on the assumption that there's something backing it, and honestly, folks, it's just paper right now. It's the good faith of the government is how we're backing it, and I think little by little, people are losing some faith in that system. It's a fiat currency. There is no gold. There is no silver backing it up. At one time, there was. We had gold certificates and silver certificates, and you could take that paper in and you could trade it actually for the metal. According to, I guess, I believe it's the Constitution that silver is, is our legal money, but we're not using it right now. We're using the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor is it any part of the government. It's not any part of the government whatsoever. It's a private bank, and people do not realize that. The reason we were able to, Nixon came by, I think it was 71, and took us off the gold standard. And at that time, we still had the reserve currency of the world because our military backed it up, and all oil purchase had to be with the US dollar. We made a deal with Saudi Arabia. And that's why we held on to that. But recently, now the BRICS nations have come through. It's Brazil, Russia, India. I look up a lot when I'm thinking China and South Africa, and now there's several other nations that want to jump on board, and they are going asset based, there's actual gold or maybe some other materials from that country that's backing it, and ours is still not backed by anything.
Well, that's a big topic as to why I think that cryptocurrencies are a sound asset compared to the Fed and the fiat system that we have. And we could talk all about that as well, because that's something that I think is really interesting that so few people
Mm-hmm.
are aware of. So few people don't realize that, like you said, our financial system is run by an unbacked currency that is just, by decree by the government. And I think something that is important to know is that it was at one point backed. It had
Yes.
the gold backed
Right.
gold standard. And I'm assuming you were alive during the time when it switched, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was born in 50s, so I very well remember when you went to the bank and got $1, you could get a silver dollar. All right, so before 64, there were 90% silver. All the coinage, so dollars and half dollars, not quarters, but nickels and oh shoot, I said nickels, quarters, not nickels, and dimes, but even war nickels in the war had 40% silver at a short amount of time. I think it was about 2-3 years. So, and now I know Clint Westwood's famous for showing you, here's like so much coins in 1964, and now they're worth, about 10 times that. A dime's worth probably around $1.20 right now, a silver dime, or 90% silver. So they've maintained their value where the paper has lost value, lost value, lost value. It's only pennies of when it came out in 1913. Not
Absolutely. I
even
love
penny,
that.
maybe.
I love the analogy that Clint has, and I'm excited to have him on. And he's got a bunch of great analogies that I love to hear. And I also agree that having had once, well, not agree. I see the value in how people need to understand that there was once a time when our currency was solid, where it was
Right.
backed, where it was, it had the precious metals behind it, and the treasury had the money behind it, and so it could all run smoothly. And we've just continued to kick the can down the road using a Rotorua Bixware expression, where we've lost the value of our currency, where we've printed so much money, we've created so much money through the fractional reserve lending. We've done so many things that have just inflated our currency to become just out of control, where we have lost the purchasing power.
It's a couple of real quick stories like Weimar Republic before Hitler came in. The currency got so worthless that they were burning it for fuel. There's a story where kids took a wheelbarrow full of marks to the store to see what they could buy. When they came back outside, the marks were dropped to the ground and somebody stole the wheelbarrow. I saw pictures of kids building pyramids as high as the ceiling with like trillion mark notes. So it was just it was very insane at that time what was going on with the currency.
Zimbabwe as well
Oh
had
yeah,
a similar
absolutely.
situation
I
where
think I got 100 trillion note, Josh.
I have one of those kicking around somewhere as
Yeah.
well. It's mind blowing, and people think that could never happen here, that could never happen in America. But honestly, with the way things have been going, it's more of a possibility than people think.
Yeah.
And so that's one reason why I think it's important to understand this, so that if you're saving all of your wealth, all of your hard earned money and capital into dollars, there's a real chance that it could be devalued right under your nose. And
Right.
that's what people don't realize. And so hopefully these conversations will help educate those to see that maybe there's another place to hold wealth. Maybe there's another way to exchange currency, to exchange wealth with your peers without needing a middleman. And that's why I really am a big supporter of cryptocurrency. And one of the many, many reasons why I believe, and I'm sure you resonate as well, with it being such a great solution to the many problems that we have.
Yeah, when I started finding out more about Bitcoin and the fact that it's limited, so there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoins ever mined, and I think we're around 18 million right now. And I believe 2040 is the last mined Bitcoin. So the element it has to make it a currency is it's rare. Just like the the money, the paper certificates backed by gold and silver were rare because gold and silver is rare. So is the Bitcoin rare. That's all there is. Now, what's the advantage of something like Bitcoin? We can do modern transactions very quickly with a digital asset. Bitcoin is getting better for speed. Litecoin's very fast already. Bitcoin Cash is very fast already. But those are three currencies that are going to be limited, and that's all there's going to be.
That is one of my favorite reasons why I think cryptos are valuable. Another is that they're decentralized, meaning that they're can't be altered. The blockchain, which, you know, we could have a whole conversation about the blockchain and distributed
Right.
ledger technology as well, into why that's so important. But it being decentralized means that it is shared, the network is shared amongst a huge amount of computers that can't be altered. You know, you can't just go into one computer and alter it the way you could in a centralized system where there's only one node that gives off the rest of the ledger. There's total transparency with this decentralization, and it makes it virtually impossible to alter from a nefarious source. So, you know, those are all good reasons why I believe cryptos are important to have and to understand and to use into the future. Do you have any other things that you could talk about to someone who's new about why cryptos are something worthwhile?
Well, I think it's kind of hedging your bets. I mean, even if you believe the dollar is, oh, come on, what are you talking about, dollar? I believe it's good to spread it around a little bit and have different places you can go to for security. I mean, the metals is one, definitely is a good thing. I find silver more valuable than gold for that. For first of all, trying to make a transaction with an ounce of gold or 10 ounces of gold, that's thousands of dollars nowadays, where silver is more in a reasonable kind of range. But then the Bitcoin, being rare as it is, and being accepted by people all over the world now, it does the same function as that. And plus, it's very portable. You can instantly make a transaction with somebody. Right now, Russia accepts for its oil. It accepts rubles backed by gold. It accepts gold and accepts Bitcoin.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah,
about the Bitcoin.
yeah, Bitcoin too. And I just bought some things from India that were important things to get. And I was looking at credit card. They wanted know your customer stuff, the KYC. And I said, I don't want to give somebody in India my credit card, my driver's license and stuff. Well, I went Bitcoin, bam, made the transaction.
That's
Had to wait
another
about
great part.
10 minutes to clear,
Yeah.
and no problem going through.
Totally. And that's, you know,
Mhm.
immediate across nations, across the world. You can do that. It's instant, or as close to instant as it can be right now. It's anonymous. You know, you don't have to share your information like the
Right,
KYC you're talking about. Um, and there are so many things about it. You can travel across the world with just the seed phrase in your mind or written down,
right.
and you have that wealth carried with you that
Yeah,
you couldn't do.
that's something not to understate, man. I mean, so you say you got, let's make a ridiculous number. You got a $2 million in Bitcoin. You don't have any wallets on you. You don't have anything, but you go to that other country and buy a cell phone, load down a Bitcoin wallet, bam, pull up your seed phrase, and all that's right there, and no one's the wiser for it.
Absolutely.
That's just absolutely amazing.
I think that part is extremely important, knowing how difficult it is. Like silver is something I love. Silver is
Yeah,
something that everyone in this space, you know, very much values.
right.
But you can't take $2 million of this down to
No,
Mexico, you know?
got to have some big pockets
Yeah, and some strong legs.
and strong legs, right?
So that's another, the portability, the functionality of Bitcoin and all cryptos, I think is huge. The limited supply, the fact that you can divide it into pretty much any amount possible. Fact that it's instant, fact that it's private yet transparent. You know, pseudo anonymous is the term I've heard, where you can see everything on the blockchain. You can see every
Mhm.
transaction into every wallet if you look, but those wallets don't have your name or your
Right.
license attached to it.
And there are privacy coins. I'm not, super up on all the privacy coins. I know Monero is one of them.
Yes.
It's not as easy to work with Bitcoin and Litecoin, but now you got the nimble wimble part of
Yes.
Litecoin, where it's a way I understand it, it's a layer above the regular blockchain, and the transaction happens, above, and then you can come back into that blockchain. But then there's no evidence of kind of how much it was, or who was making the deal between people.
Yeah, I found that the addition of Mimblewimble or MWeb to the Litecoin,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a blockchain or the protocol or the Lightning Network, but the use of Mimblewimble is
Right.
incredible that you're able to have that kind of privacy. Because that was one thing I know that a lot of people in the crypto, or who weren't in the crypto space, were using as a form of, why crypto might not be the best, because you can see where everyone's money is, blah blah blah, all that. But there are so many reasons why it's valuable, why it's useful. Anyone can use it across the world. You don't need to have a bank. You don't need to have someone else give you authority of your money. You just have it yourself. And I could go on and on about it, but I want to talk more about your experience with cryptocurrency and your involvement with the scene, because not only is the technology so amazing, the people behind the scene are just incredible people through and through, from who I've met. And meeting you, for example, another example to how these people are so great. So how do you feel about the culture of cryptocurrency, the users of cryptocurrency?
Well, I find them to be, all of us, be very like-minded. We were talking before we started recording that I first heard Cliff High speak is at the end of the 90s on the Coast to Coast AM show. And he had a partner at that time. But if anybody's not aware of Cliff, he sent little web bots out to get little pieces of language. And when he was able to bring those back and assemble them, the language was so unique, you could actually make predictions from it. And the predictions he made were uncanny accurate. I mean, I'm thinking like 80% accuracy. And now we're finding a lot of them that he made several years ago using his web bots are just now coming true. I think the timeline was off. He thought they're going to happen, say, 2016, 2017, but they're happening now, like in 2022, 2023. One of that, as I've been waiting for, is $600 silver and $100,000 Bitcoin. And you know what? I do see that coming in the future for both of those things.
I totally see both of those things happening, and part of me sees it because of the value of the asset,
Right.
of the silver, of the crypto, of Bitcoin. I also see it because of the devaluation of what's being weighed against,
Right.
being the dollar. So it will be an interesting couple of months and years. I mean, I would say that this cryptocurrency scene is very much in its infancy. It's still very new to the world. And I think that the good fight, that, a lot of people in this space like to talk about when it comes to exiting the system, the fiat system, that fight's been going on a long time, and it's still going to be going on for a while, I would imagine, into our lifetimes. So that's why it's important to get involved, important to get aware. That's why, I'm so called to be doing these kind of talks with people like you, because you've been in it. You see why it's so important. And, hopefully we're able to lend a hand to those who are still waking up to all this so that they can have.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt. The
No, no.
community, the community is very accepting, and I was going to go and say I got into crypto myself, but then I just started watching podcasts, and some of the early people after Cliff High, Bitcoin Ben, he was a big influencer for me. That was back when he was still the truck driver and still sitting like on probably his back porch or whatever he's doing. And then Bix Weir, of course, with Road to Ruta. I started watching him about the same time, and Joe Snips, Snippy, and I was talking earlier, I went to a Bitcoin Ben ran the meetup in St. Louis about 3 to 4 years ago, soon after I got in. And there was Litecoin Lisa for the first time, and she hadn't started podcasting yet. And Clinton Westwood was there too.
Wow.
So yeah, and then later on, I kind of invited myself to meet up at Clint Westwood's, and then I saw everybody again. Bitcoin Ben came that time to meet, and then talking to Lisa and talking to Clint, and now the family's growing. Other people are included in that family, very like-minded people, and from all over the United States. So I like a quote that Lisa had when it was her 50th birthday. She decided she wanted to spend her 50th birthday with her magical internet friends. So we met at a place, and everybody came from all over the place to celebrate her birthday with her, and that was pretty cool.
That was awesome. And I think that's another great example as to the people who are in this space really see it as a family, as a bunch of like-minded, like-hearted individuals from all over the nation, all over the world even,
Mhm.
who share these values, who share this awareness of the issues that are happening in the financial markets and, many other places, and want to do something about it, and are standing up for what they believe in and coming together on the internet to enjoy each other's company and share ideas and build that movement that's been growing for, ever since the birth of cryptocurrency and
Right.
even before then.
I'll put a flag of warning up, though. I tell you what, I'm not for is central bank digital currencies. I'm not a fan of that. That's going to be coming down the pike, and we're going to have a competition between what we have already, the Bitcoin, the Litecoin, the Ethereum, Theta. Big fan of Theta.
Yeah.
Even with XRP and XLM and some of what some people call the banker coins on the side there. There's going to be a head-on crash. They're already digitalizing a lot of other currencies like the yuan in China, and they're going to base things on a social score. So if you don't do what they say, they can turn your money off or they can take some away. They have total control of your funds and they'll know everything you did. I'm not that part I don't like. And so we got to make sure that these other digital assets we've been using are the ones we use if it's a digital asset. And we're not using those the central bank digital currency, but it's going to be a big fight.
Oh, absolutely. And to give some context to the people listening, if you aren't really aware what the CBDCs or the central bank digital currencies are, it's exactly what Kent's saying. It's cryptocurrency, but it's being used by centralized authority. So it's not decentralized, it's centralized, and it's
Mhm.
programmable. And that's where a lot of these people, the bad guys, as some call them, World Economic Forum members,
Right.
all those people who are trying to limit the freedoms that we have as individuals and keep the powers to themselves. They're trying to use, it sounds like they've been rolling out these central bank digital currencies as a form of new technology to be used for the collapsing fiat systems, but doing it for their own benefit. And we've seen some of that. I think Nigeria already tried to do that. And there are a few other countries who have been
Mhm.
trying to roll this out, and it has not been taking very well, it seems.
And some of the things I remember hearing, like, and it may have been Cliff High's web bots, that it looks like we're going to try it a couple times and it's not going to work out very well.
Yes.
The central bank currency. So I think that's a good thing. So then I
Yes.
think we're going to fall back on some of these other assets that people have.
I agree. I do think it's going to be an interesting fight to see how the things shake out. I think there's going to be a time when they're all kind of moving together or at the
Right.
same time where people are going to have a choice to make. And I know that, the powers that be have done pretty much everything they can do to destroy cryptocurrencies because it is, in my opinion, the best weapon against their reign. But through all of the smearing, through all of the takedown attempts, the cryptocurrencies, the technology, the blockchain technology still survive, and they're still getting stronger and stronger. One of the terms I like that Cliff High, like you mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
likes to put toward it is it's anti-fragile, meaning that the more it gets attacked, the
Right.
stronger it gets. And so it's another example as to why I think that cryptos are the future. Very cool, Ken. I think it's awesome that you're such an active member in the space, and congratulations on getting over 300 subscribers. That's a big
Yay.
deal. And I think that I'm the believer that if you're doing something right, God or the universe is going to give you good karma around it. You're going to do well for putting out the good energy, and so that's why person like you I aspire to be more like, and why I'm trying to get out here and show my face and be a
That's
part of
great.
this movement, because it's a big deal when you really become aware of the war, the spiritual war, the financial war, the information wars that we're a part of right now. And so I just want to thank you for being such a great, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
force in the fight, and for doing your part. So, before we get out of here, do you have any final thoughts on how you see the cryptocurrency world going into the future, or anything to look out for?
Well, I think kind of reiterate some of the things we said. I think it's good to have assets in different areas. I think have some precious metals. Uh, I think you need to have cash on hand, even though it's fiat, in case things get rough for a while. The first thing people are going to recognize is cash. So you need to have some cash, you need some precious metals, and then diversify in your crypto, whatever you think is going to be good. We talked about the ones in the two camps. You got the X camp, XLM, XRP, XDC. Then you got Bitcoin, etc. But I think I heard recently there's 27,000 crypto coins now.
It's insane.
Well, most of them, I won't use the nasty word, but most of them are poop coins. They're no good whatsoever. There's only really about under 30 coins that are, I would consider good coins to get.
I
And
would
most of
agree
them
with
we
that.
mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, we've talked about a lot of them, and I'm sure there's some good ones that I'm
Right.
unaware of. But I know that there are some really good coins out there, but majority of them are not gonna survive, in our opinion, and that's
Right.
because they're not based in these fundamental characteristics that create longevity within a blockchain technology, like the ones we've all mentioned, like scarcity and security and things like that. But anyway, thanks for coming on today, Kent.
Oh, great. I had fun.
I look forward to doing more work with you on your channel, and hopefully you coming back here so we can continue to talk about these things, because I think it's, I feel a duty that I'm sure you do as well to continue to educate people, or at least create conversations around these things.
Well, I teach high school still at part time now, and all my students know what Bitcoin is.
Good. Man, if I was in high school and someone told me, what's funny? That just reminded me, my junior year Spanish teacher was
Ah,
talking about exactly you. Uh, Told us all the time to invest in, like, whenever you get $20, just go buy a round of silver. And I
yep.
remember hearing him saying that, and I was like, silver? Why buy silver? And if it had struck a chord a little bit more, I would have maybe had a few more ounces before now. But I think it's great that there are people out there like you who are uh, doing their part to influence the world, especially the youth who are
Right.
so unguided right now to a better world.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you go check out again. Let me see if I can do this. Check out Crypto Experiences by Saintjerome and give him a like and a follow, and also on Patreon. And then for us as well here at the Pebbleton Post, please like this video, subscribe if you found that this content was useful, and if you'd like to see more conversations like this with a whole array of experts and enthusiasts in the field, and definitely on Patreon too, because if you're watching this on YouTube or on Rumble or any of the other platforms, you're only going to be seeing a sneak peek of what we have, and we had a really good conversation. So if you want to see the whole thing, go check us out on Patreon. And until then, just keep fighting the good fight, keep educating yourselves on all of the things that we discussed, like crypto, like silver, and stay tuned for more content here.
Thanks, Josh. It was a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you.